because that was my first tour in Afghanistan, and I've been back since, and I didn't feel the same after the second time because I understood a little bit more. And to be honest, the support post-tour, when it's very kinetic like I had, the support was there the second time around. It was just special circumstances, I think, the first time around, where we got off the ground very quickly and the next minute you're at home. I remember a firework going off at bonfire night, and I was driving my car 3 days after getting back, and it was fireworks, and one rocket went through a woodblock and I crashed my car into a small bollard in the middle of the road, the sleeping policemen we call them. And because I just ducked, and I kept driving because you think you've got to get away. I just ducked and carried on driving, went through over a sleeping policeman, and it was that point I thinking, what am I doing? This is not right, So it was a strange few months afterwards, but the only other incentive to make sure that, because I was a platoon sergeant when I returned from that tour or from my leave, and I thought I have to be right because I've got soldiers below me that may have gone through some similar thoughts during this period, and I need to get back to work to make sure that they're okay. So that was my kind of goal, making sure the people that were underneath me and above me were okay. So I had to be okay.
But you're not always?
Not always, but I think we're doing much more now where, people are talking much more about it than they have done 20 years ago, let's say. So, you look back at the Falklands, many people, it was thought to be weak if you spoke about emotions or what you went through or what you thought, but nowadays it's the right thing to do, people to talk about it. And to be honest, this is really the only time I really openly spoke about it in an environment where I'm not sat with the people that went through it with me. Because usually, as friends, we meet up, and usually over a beer, and we'll talk about, do you remember when, and do you remember when, and do you remember, whether it be people who got injured and died or whatever, and we'll talk and we'll laugh and we'll reminisce on the good times and the bad times, and then you'll go away and you're not seeing for another year, and another year later you'll meet them. But this is probably the only time I've spoke with people that weren't there with me at the time, strangely. But it's good, because it'll probably help someone else, so I'm happy.
I suppose the burning question for me, that question of was it worth it? Having experienced loss like you have, fear, looking at the political situation now, the dramatic fall of Kabul and the speed at which that happened, was it worth it?
For me, I would say it was worth it. To say it wasn't worth it, for me, would be, I would feel bad if I said it wasn't worth it for the people I've seen lose their lives doing what they did and doing what they loved doing as well. And again, there's political, and I'm talking about us, boots on the ground, friends left, friends right. Yes, it was worth it. If you ask their families, they'll probably maybe have a different view. But for me, yes, it was worth it. If I look on a slightly higher level, I know that since 9/11, I don't think there's been a terrorist attack planned and executed from Afghanistan in the 20 years during the conflict. So, if we'd not gone there, how many terrorist attacks and how many people would have died out of Afghanistan as opposed to in Afghanistan? So, that's a question mark on that. And I think, is it worth it? I think that's still an open question, because there's still time. I think there's still time to see how the Taliban deal with it. Have we opened the minds of the Taliban? I think so, more so than 20 years ago. So I think there's many things at the slightly higher level than me, and at the ground level where I, when we were in Afghanistan, I think it was worth it.
There must have been times though, Stephen, in your head, in moments where you thought to yourself, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said, the times where your friends, you know, no longer going to see his family and friends, and they don't even know yet, but you can see your friend laid there still. You think, well, you do literally say to you, what the hell are we doing here? Let's just go home. But then, you know, when that passes and that anger or frustration and emotion passes you by and you switch back onto professional mode and you're back out on patrol again, then, you know, for me, I'm just doing my job again. Nothing about political, you know, I didn't care what's happening around me at home or anything like that. I was just focused on, I'm looking after this person here and this person here and making sure that laying down still in front of me doesn't happen, or trying to prevent it. So it was just doing a job. And then, to be honest, I never thought, apart from them times, was it worth it until probably you've just asked me, if I'm honest. Even when, you know, it fell in the end, I still wasn't sure of my answer to, was it worth it? Apart from, like I've said, I think it was, because, you know, I think the terrorist attacks would have been spread across the globe had we not been there.
Thank you for joining us on the Fall of Kabul, a soldier's story. For more episodes and in-depth exploration, visit us on YouTube and on podcast streaming platforms.